Dear curious listeners of the podcast series Curious Ears at Gaudeamus, we're delighted to bring you one of our usual suspects at Gaudeamus Festival, Igor Silva. Welcome, Igor.
Thanks.
Bom dia, tudo bem?
Bom dia, tudo ótimo e contigo?
Fantástico, ótimo, fixe.
Impecável.
Impecável.
Espetáculo.
Lusofonia, this year we had Rafael Andrade with the Brazilian accent. We have you with a Porto accent, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic. Igor, you're known to us. Recently, a couple of years ago, you had your opera, multimedia opera
Yep.
at Gaudeamus. If you could remind us shortly about it, what it was.
Well, it was an opera that I wrote for Stephanie Penn, the singer, and Clang Ensemble from the Hague, and it was it's a piece about fake news. So the libretto was written by Aaron, which is a great U.S. writer. So he wrote this libretto about a journalist who fakes some news, some piece, and then he gets discovered, and it's all about his guilt and morality
You
around
can
it.
check the archives because there was an interview there, I remember, that had impact in the press. It must be in the archives. Some other 5 or 6 occasions you collaborated with Gaudeamus presenting work of your own.
Yeah, with trash with my former Trash Panda ensemble collective, and some other concerts pieces in general. Yeah, and I've been also as a member of the audience
So
several
you
times.
have a huge line of followers, we know, and luckily now you can present a podcast in which you reflect upon your own creative process. And correct me if I quote it wrong, collaboration, a trigger for new music, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Could you elaborate? Not too long about it. It's a very nice title.
Yeah, right. So I think that in creation, or let's focus on music, but so in composition, when you create music, there's a lot of things that can trigger thoughts and paths and ideas. And I think composing many times is to be, it's not only putting music on the paper or on a DAW, whatever. It's also about understanding what are the triggers that you are working with. So you put music out, you put elements out, and then you understand what does it trigger a certain path. And sometimes those triggers can be musical triggers, but also can be people. And I really like to be triggered by the people that I'm collaborating with because it creates a certain kind of feedback loop, which results many times in a different path, in a different musical result that most likely or certainly if I would do it by myself, it wouldn't happen. So if I would be the traditional romantic composer writing at home with my candle, and paper and ink, most likely I wouldn't come I wouldn't come across certain ideas that I came across with by collaborating with other people. So it's all
You explain
about
that so well in your podcast, and you invite those people to
thanks.
talk. So we listen to Igor and we listen to at least 2 other guests. And just to give you a snap of what it could sound like, one of the pieces in the podcast when you listen to it. Percussion duo and electronics?
Sorry?
Is this your percussion duo and electronic piece?
No, that's from this side. It's a piece for a flexible ensemble, drums and electronics.
Okay.
So in this version, it's like drums, of course, and then flute, cello, flute, cello, bass clarinet, and myself on guitar.
And you interview some of your collaborators for this piece.
Yeah, the drummer.
Right. We don't want to spoil too much because we want you to listen to the podcast, but there's a degree of flexibility, of openness in your pieces, which you describe as a very inspiring source of collaboration, of triggering new music. And you describe this along your podcast. In this specific case, was it an open score? Was there room for improvisation? What's the openness about this composition?
Well, it's never an open score because many times open score means that even certain aspects like narrative and form is also open, and that's one of the things that most of the times I want to keep it under control because that's the narrative, that's the storytelling, and that's me as a composer. So I want to say, all right, this is the story, this is narrative, this is where it goes, these are the elements. So it's not anymore an open score if you do that, or at least I think like that. But then the goal is to make it very clear to the performers what are the elements, what is all of these elements form narrative, and with those elements, understanding how can we make it differently and make it your own.
Sounds a bit abstract here, but I really recommend the listener, whether a professional performer, artist, composer, instrumentalist, or the general public of the festival that follows you in great numbers, we know, this gives you an insider look into your creative process. And that's a privileged situation to witness, to be part of it, that we try to create with this podcast, giving you the occasion to comment it. Maybe the next example has a different format. It would be nice to get a glimpse of what it sounds like. Sounds like a guitar impro, is it?
Yep. It's the guitar solo of yeah, it's a guitar solo, but also quartet solo in a way, of my big band piece Wrong Index that I wrote for OJM. So yeah, it's a big band piece. So again, there's a lot of written material, but at the same time, things go very, very wild sometimes. And the
Big band
solo,
with soloists and electronics.
yes,
Hmm.
exactly. I'm playing electronics, and also the drummer is triggering a lot of electronics. So it can so the piece has a written score in that way, but there's parts where things get quite open, and especially in this solo where the big band fades away slowly and we stay alone for the rhythmic section plus myself on electronics. We stay alone for the guitar solo, which becomes a guitar it starts as a guitar solo and then gradually becomes like a quartet solo, uh, and then it can go anywhere and eventually need to find a way to get out of the solo and for the
You
big band
tell
to come in
us
again.
many hints about it in your performance, the format, the how do you foresee the interaction between the written or fixed, and also about the process of creating it, how sometimes your pieces evolve along the making process with your collaborators, sometimes becoming friends. Know more about it, we'll hear in the podcast. Maybe to give a bit of context and to interest us on your next artistic stage, you have taken this a step further now in a great European work network that used to involve performers and for the first time involves creators like yourself. Could you tell us a little bit about it to finalize our interview?
Yeah, so ECHO, which is stands for European Concert Hall Organization,
European Concert Hall
Hall
Organization.
Organization. They basically they are the link of the main concert halls in Europe, like Music Rebel, Concert Rebel, Philharmonie of Paris, Casa da Música in Porto, Berlin Philharmonie, all of those big institutions. And they have been doing a lot of work with over the last 20 years or 15 years with performers, with young performers, with young talents. They call it the rising stars. And this year, for the first time, they are doing that with composers, with young composers.
Talking of
So,
Lusofonia, this year your fellow countrymen Maat Quartet are also involved
yeah,
on
exactly.
the road
Which is
and
kind,
one of the
which
first
is,
honored composers to take part in this journey.
yeah, it's very interesting. So, and I got the opportunity to write a piece for orchestra. So they commissioned me a piece for orchestra that will be played by 6 or 7 orchestras, or 5 or 6 different orchestras. So in 6 different countries, and the piece, and I asked them if I could write a piece for actually for a quartet of improvisers, orchestra, and electronics, so soloists. So and we agreed. They agreed with ideas. So the piece became this kind of written piece for orchestra with a improvised part for the quartet, which is Mané Fernandes on electric guitar, Zé Almeida on double bass, Diogo Alexandre on drums and some electronics that we share, and myself on electronics and synths. So yeah, which became again a very collaborative piece, and a very a very interesting space
Became it
for.
past? Are you developing it right now? Is it going to be presented
Oh,
soon?
it's done. It's done.
And presented?
No, not yet. But the
Okay.
music is done. We did
Give
a
us a time frame when to watch it and where?
So we did a residency with the orchestra, so it was kind of a luxurious thing to have a residency like 2 days just to experiment things. In
Mhm.
March, the piece was written already. We tried it with the orchestra for 2 days. We also had some residencies just as a quartet. That's why all this collaboration process. And then I revised a couple of things after the residency, and now it's ready to be premiered in, I think it's the 21st of September in Cologne, in the
Right.
Philharmonic of Cologne. And then we start the tour in Porto, Lisbon, Budapest, Barcelona, and Poland.
Great places for all our listeners because they come from all around the world. So
There you
after
go.
Gaudeamus, which is second weekend of September, we have to reserve the weekend after to go to Cologne and see your premiere.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Muito obrigado, Igor.
You're welcome. Obrigado, eu.
Best of luck with your current project, and we'll see you at the festival. We'll listen to your podcast.
Thank you.